Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel where we talk about all things Facebook ads. My name is Sydney. I'm a Facebook ad expert at Vertex Marketing Agency. And today I want to talk to you about the learning phase and learning limited, how to get out of it, and really, I guess, should we even be worried about it in the first place? I had a few guys comment on my old video that I already had about the learning phase, just asking for like an updated version for this year, and here it is. So let's first talk about like what the learning phase is. This is an article by Facebook. It explains about all about the learning phase. It does tell us each time an ad is shown, our ads delivery system learns more about the best people and places to show the ad. The more the ad is shown, the better the delivery system becomes at optimizing the ad's performance. The delivery column reads learning when an ad set is in its learning phase. While the delivery system never stops learning about the best ways to deliver an ad set, the ad set exits the learning phase as soon as performance stabilizes, which is usually after about 50 optimization events since its last significant edit. So let's then talk about what a significant edit is so you guys have an idea of what that is. Not every single edit that you make is going to be a significant edit, but these are any change to the targeting, any change to the ad creative, to the optimization event. So if you change it from like a lead optimization event to purchase, or from a purchase to an add to cart, if you think that that's going to make you exit the learning phase from changing it from a purchase to an add to cart, it's not just going to make it re-enter. And although it might end up that you get more optimization events, like more people overall adding to cart than purchasing, that's going to be a significant edit. Adding a new ad to your ad set, pausing your ad set for 7 days or longer, basically just kind of restarts it from zero again, and then changing the bid strategy. The following changes might not be significant depending on the magnitude of the change. So ad set spending limit amount. So if you go into your payment settings inside of your ad settings and change the spending limit amount, the bid control, cost per result score, or the ROAS goal amount, and the budget amount. So if you're using ad set budget optimization, then depending on how much you're increasing or decreasing by, which I'd always recommend that you do no more than 20% increase or decrease to like minimize the impacts of the learning phase. And that's usually what it is, about 20% leeway. And they say when using advantage campaign budget, which is basically campaign budget optimization, adjusting the campaign budget might cause multiple ad sets within that campaign to re-enter the learning phase if your budget change is a lot. If you're going from $5 to $100, that's just a whole new optimization and delivery that Facebook needs to like put into its little algorithm. So just consider that. And they do give you an example here. For example, if you increase your budget from 100 to 101, that isn't likely to cause one or more ads to re-enter the learning phase. But if you change it from 100 to 1,000, they're probably going to put it back into the learning phase. So let's go back to this article about the learning phase and talk about best practices. They do say wait to edit your ad set until it's out of the learning phase. They typically say if you get 50 optimization events, so whatever optimization event that you're optimizing for. So if you're optimizing for purchases, if you're optimizing for add to carts, if you're optimizing for clicks to your website, the higher up in the funnel, like clicks or brand awareness, those types of optimization events, you're obviously going to get way more. And so you're probably never really going to be in the learning phase. I'm assuming if you're in the learning phase and you're stuck in there, it's because you're using conversion events. So I'm just going to keep that idea. So I say to like wait until your ad set is out of the learning phase to make edits. But if you're stuck in the learning phase and you don't get 50 optimization events or 50 purchases basically in 1 week or 7 days, then you're never going to be making edits. Okay, so that's one of the best practices. Avoid unnecessary edits that cause the ad set to re-enter the learning phase. Think about it as like learning a new skill. You shouldn't really like add on a ton of new skills into the skill that you're already learning until you've actually gotten good at that one skill. Then you can start incorporating other movements or parts of that skill into the one that you're already learning. But bombarding it with too many things at the beginning and always switching it up, like if you're learning a dance and they're always changing the choreography, it's gonna be hard to learn that because you just want to like cruise through one choreography and actually learn it really well. Avoid high ad volumes. So if you want to get your ads out of the learning phase, I would recommend never really having more than like 3 or 4 ads in one ad set. Just makes a lot for Facebook to optimize by. And if you have more than 4 ad sets that you've put a lot of production time into and like resources, you're either spending a lot on your Facebook ads and just like the whole production, and none of them are probably actually that good, I would have to say. But obviously larger companies, yes, they can have more ads because usually that means they have more budget as well. And that also means they're probably getting more purchases and more optimization events. And then use realistic budgets, like using $5 a day for a purchase. I mean, you're never really going to get a cost per purchase, especially tracked, especially like post iOS 14. We do know that not all of the conversions are going to be coming in and shown inside of your ads manager. So a $5 per day budget is not really realistic. You need to think about spending at least 2 to 3 times your target CPA to be able to get those results and like for Facebook to actually optimize for you. They do say here the learning phase is necessary to help the delivery system best optimize ads. You can't really avoid the learning phase, but when it becomes, like a week to 2 weeks or 3 weeks that you're in the learning phase, or you're stuck in learning limited, which means that it's really having it, Facebook says they're having an issue delivering your ad, then at that point, it's like, is this something that I should really care about? So let me dive into one of our clients' ad accounts right now, where they're for sure getting at least 50 purchases per week, and it still says they're in the learning phase. Now, for example, let's open up this campaign. This one right here, it actually says active. And in the last 7 days, we've only gotten 22 website purchases, but it's active. It says the last significant edit was 15 days ago, and I do have a hefty budget. Like we're actually spending enough for it to be optimized. So in the last 7 days, there's only been 22 purchases. In the last 14 days, Facebook is saying that we should have 100 optimization events to have occurred for it to exit the learning phase, and we actually only have 45. So in this case, this is just a really great audience and offer, and Facebook was able to optimize this campaign relatively well to be able to find the people who are going to convert, and they're not really having issues finding those people. Now let's look at another campaign that's running right now. This is also targeting the US, and here we do have learning, and this says the last significant edit was 2 days ago. Now, if we go the last 7 days, we have 75 purchases in the last 7 days. So this should definitely be out of learning phase, but because I just made a significant edit, it's again back in learning, and that's completely fine because I know that this audience works well and that Facebook is able to find who it is that I'm looking to target. Now let's go to our testing campaign. This one is actually using dynamic creative because I've recently started using dynamic creative for all of our testing campaigns. And it shows us here, there actually is no last significant edit. So maybe we can open up this way, and it's still not telling us actually. Now, because this is a dynamic creative, it's not going to show us when the last significant edit was, which I'm actually not really sure why. But in the last 7 days, we only have 16 purchases. And this delivery column says active. It's not in the learning phase currently. And if we back this up to the last 14 days, we only have 22 purchases in total in our testing campaign. So why is this campaign not in the learning phase? Now, I started thinking about this a little deeper when I was starting to create this video, and I feel like we often overlook the actual product or the overall offer that you have within your campaign, and we always blame it on the learning phase or the budget or the significant edits. But you also need to think about how the algorithm decides who sees your ad. And I've found sometimes it's actually really hard to exit the learning phase when your offer just simply isn't that good. There are products out there that I am not really sure how they're actually performing well on Facebook with very bad ads and just a bad overall offer that I could easily go to my local store or like Amazon and get something that's probably way better and way more trustworthy. So when you're thinking about the learning phase, learning limited, and just getting sales overall, you need to think about your actual offer and what, who Facebook would be able to target with these ads. And so yes, we can blame it on the delivery system and like Facebook not being able to optimize. But for example, this is a well-known brand. They have good branding. Their overall online presence is actually really great. And so Facebook has an easier time finding who they need to target, and they can actually just deliver it properly. All right, so let's take a look at another client here who's actually currently in learning limited. So this basically means that over the last 14 days, they have not gotten enough purchases to be able to optimize properly. Now, this ad set isn't generating enough purchases to exit the learning phase because its budget may be too low. Now, if you checked out one of my other videos about what to do when you have one ad that just is outperforming the others because they have lots of comments on them, I created an ad set that has only that one ad in it. And so it's entering Learning Limited. In the last 14 days, it's only gotten 16 purchases, but overall that cost per purchase is really good. And I actually know based on their past results and with the lack of data that this ad is actually performing really, really well and has been consistently for a really long time. It has all the elements of an ad and what it really needs, and it has a ton of comments. So for this one, I'm actually really not worried about that because I know overall this is actually what's driving a lot of revenue for the company. And that's something that you sort of need to interpret with your ads. Like, if I remove this ad and I turn it off because it's in Learning Limited, is it going to affect the results overall? So if we look at this other ad set, it's in Learning as well. Last significant edit was 9 days ago. Tracked inside of Ads Manager, it has 13 purchases with a cost per purchase of $58. I actually know that these ads are performing really, really well. This client has never seen their business expand so much where we've actually had to reduce some budget because it's actually just performing so well and they actually don't have the capacity within their business to fulfill all of these orders. So even though these ads are in Learning Limited and Learning, I know that these are performing really, really well. So in this case, I can take a look at like their overall sales and compare that to a couple months ago and just what we're doing now. It's exponentially better in terms of results. So I'm actually really not worried about what I'm seeing inside of here and the Learning and the Learning Limited. That's Facebook just telling us basically they don't have enough data, and data we know is scarce these days. My overall takeaway for this video is actually just like to not worry too much about this Learning Limited and the learning phase. If you are getting absolutely no purchases tracked within your ad account, again, that doesn't mean that there's no purchases at all because we know that, data is scarce these days. iOS 14 might be lacking. So for example, I know that in this ad account, if it says 21 purchases associated here, I actually know it's probably about like 30 to 40 purchases, which those are just some sort of data points I need to interpret these days, which that's just the reality of things. So I know that overall these ads are actually performing really well, even though it's in Learning Limited and the other one says it's in Learning. A few things that you definitely need to be taking a look at is just making sure that even if you are in Learning Limited, how is your overall business revenue? If it's also not doing very good and you're having issues with your ad account and you're not seeing any purchases in here, I would definitely take a look at the ads that you're currently running. Your Facebook ad creative these days is the most important thing. I have some other videos explaining how you can get good Facebook ad creatives so that when people are actually scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, or if you're advertising on TikTok, that your ad is actually good. And that might be something that's holding you back from not getting those results, even though it's in Learning Limited or in the learning phase. Another thing that you should look at is your offer. Can someone go to Amazon and get something that's a little bit cheaper and maybe a little bit more trustworthy? That's something you also need to consider these days with just the overall rise in Amazon and its ability to give us everything that we need at our doorsteps. So that's something else that you need to consider. Overall, how is your offer, your product, your trustworthiness compared to all of your competitors online? And that might be what is holding you back from getting your results and not so much Learning Limited. It's sort of a hard pill to swallow, and I hate to say it like that, guys, but that's honestly the truth. It's very competitive out there these days, and branding and your overall just trustworthiness is huge. For someone to choose your website over something like Amazon is the biggest culprit and the biggest roadblock that you're going to be facing these days. So that is my take on the learning phase and Learning Limited. It's really not a big deal. Some of our biggest clients are in Learning Limited or in the learning phase, and that's absolutely fine because we know that their ads are still performing really well. They are driving revenue. And for anyone that is in the Learning Limited or in the learning phase, consider any significant changes that you're making and consider your overall offer and Facebook's ability to deliver that to people who it's going to be relevant for. So that's pretty much it today, guys. I hope that helped. Don't worry about it too much, but also think about the overall offer. That's like really what I have to take away here. So again, guys, we do offer a full done-for-you service for any clients who are spending $3,000 to $5,000 per month on their Facebook ads. And we also, for anyone who's not maybe at that stage yet, or they actually want to run the ads themselves, but they need some guidance, we offer coaching and consulting for anyone who's interested in that. So if you did want to learn more about that, go ahead and press the apply to work with my agency button in the description below, fill out the form, and we'll get back to you about booking in a strategy session. That's it for today, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.